Hey guys, it is Monday, or it is Tuesday when you're watching this. It's Monday when I'm recording this, and it's dark and gloomy out, so when I flip the lights on, there's a ton of glare. I know there's one right here, but when I have them off, I know it's kind of dark, so hopefully you guys can see this pretty well. And if you need to follow along or pause me, then do so, okay? So pause, and then if you need to look back at the problem, we're on PDF page 153, and this is our last lesson in Module 4, and then we'll be on Module 5, okay? So, I kind of beat you to this redraw right, but I'll go over it again. So we're on this word problem, and it has two parts to it. It says Carlo buys $14.40 worth of grapefruit. I underlined grapefruit because I love grapefruit. Each grapefruit cost 80 cents. So our first question is, how many grapefruits does Carlo buy? So we need to figure out how much he buys. So we know how much he spent, right? So he spent $14.40, okay? And each one costs 80 cents, so I'm going to divide, I need that sign in front. So each one costs 80 cents. So I'm going to take the amount that he spent and divide it by how much one costs to see how much he bought. So 2 lessons ago, we've done this before, right? We have a division expression, and now we need to move it into a what? Yes, a fraction into fraction form. So I'm going to take 14.04, 14 4/10. So I don't really need the 0 at the end, right? Because there's nothing there that I don't really need it. It's not, there's no value in that place, in the hundredths place. And then same with this, the 80 cents or the 8 0 hundredths, I don't need that 0 anymore, okay? If I kept that 0 on, I might confuse myself and multiply the top and the bottom by something. I need to multiply the top and the bottom by something to get rid of these decimals. And now that the zeros are gone, I know that there's only something in the tenths place. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 10. So times 10 times 10, and that's going to move the decimals over one time, and I'm going to get 144 over or divided by 8. So now I know that simplifies, so I'm going to whoop over here, 144, oh, that's not going to be enough room. I'm going to do 144, then divided by 8. Okay. I know that 8, does 8 go into 1? No. Does 8 go into 14? Yeah, sure does. It goes in there one time. 1 times 8 is 8. I subtract. Ooh. I get 6. And then I have to bring down this 4. Well, how many times does 8 go into 64? Well, something times 8 is 64, and that is 8. So 8 times 8 is 64. I subtract, and then 0 remainder. So my answer is 18. And I'm going to go over here and write my little sentence. So in your homework, you'll type in a full sentence, and I'll say Carlo bought 18 grapefruits. It's so weird writing like this. Fruits, period, okay? Carlo bought 18 grapefruits. Now we can move on, right? All right. So, I know there's a glare, but I'm going to read it to you. It says, at the same store, Kari spends 1/3 as much money on grapefruit as Carlo. how many grapefruits does she buy? So the first thing, so Kari spends 1/3 as much money on grapefruits as Carlo, okay? So how many grapefruits does she buy? So that's the question, but we also need to figure out, before we figure out how many grapefruits she buys, we need to find out how much she spent on grapefruit, okay? So I'm gonna erase this top part so you guys can see what I'm working on. So I'll pause before, so if you need to pause and copy, then you can. Okay, la da 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 da. I need a ginormous whiteboard. Okay, so before we find out how much she buys, we need to find out how much she spent. So she spends 1/3 as much on grapefruit as Carlo. Well, Carlo spent $14.40. We need to find out she spent 1/3. So I can divide it. I can take $14.40 and divide it by 3 because I only want 1/3. Okay? And so now we're using another skill that we just learned recently. There's a decimal in the house. Whoop whoop, raise the roof, raise the roof. So, I know you guys love that. I'm gonna raise the roof to him. Okay? So, let's look at this. 3 goes into 14. How many times? 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Ay. And then I'm going to subtract 14 minus 12 is 2. And then I got to bring down the decimal. He's not going to the basement. He's going to the roof. Okay, just the roof. So I just bring down the 4. How many times does 3 go into 24? 8 times, because 3 times 8 is 24. So Kari spends 4 8/10. No, Kari spends $4.80 on grapefruit. So that's our first part. But are they asking us that? Not necessarily. So how many grapefruits does she buy? So now I take that $4.80 that she spent, and I need to divide it by what? How much one costs, right? Because we want to find out again how much, well, we know how much each costs, but how many does she buy? So again, we're going to divide by this 80 cents. And now it's in this division expression. We got to turn it into, I know you're screaming at me saying a fraction expression, or a fraction into a fraction. So $4.80. Oh, I have a 0 at the end, which means it's 4 8/10. So whatever, erase it, goodbye. And then that same, if you want to put the 0 there. So now I know that there's an 8 in the tens place and an 8 in the tens place here. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 10. And I'm going to get, well, move it over, 48, move it over, 8. Do I need to go through all the trouble of dividing? No, because I know that 8 times 6 is 48. So the answer is 6. And then I can go down here, and I would write it down here, but I'm going to write it here. So Kari bought 6 grapefruits. Okay? Circle my answer, type it into my document, take a picture, I'm good to go. So I'm going to go over another word problem in the next video, so stick around for that.